Hi, Yinz Goin. Welcome to the Yinz Goin podcast. I'm Matt. I'm your host. This week, we're going to finish off our conversation with Maureen about her trip to Disneyland Paris. So, in the last episode, in case you missed it, we talked about the hotels, general overview of Disneyland Paris, a little bit of history of it, and then Disneyland Paris, the actual park. Today, we're going to pick up talking about Walt Disney Studios Park. Enjoy. So now moving on to Walt Disney Studios Park. It's open from about 9:30 in the morning to either 8 or 9 at night. So no weird times on this one. And of course they have the extra magic hours from 8:30 to 9:30 for those who are staying on property. It is a fairly small park. It's only 62 acres and it gets about 5.7 million visitors each year. It has 11 restaurants. And now broken down to the front lot that has the Earful Tower. It is 108 feet tall. Now, this is not the same one that used to be at Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney
But
World.
it brought back good memories.
Yeah, that one was 130 feet tall. This one's a little bit shorter, but still, it's the same design, same look. So, yeah, I missed that thing. I like that so much. The
Me
backlot
too.
tour, for as much as I like Galaxy's Edge, I miss the backlot tour.
A backlot tour. Yep.
Well, that both Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, that those are just amazingly immersive areas. But can't we add it back to somewhere?
Someplace. Yeah.
So now there's not a whole lot in the front lot area. But then whenever you move on to World Premiere Plaza, it has the World Premiere, which is another covered walkway with shopping and dining. So again, American parks being covered out of the elements, especially in places that are very hot and sometimes rainy. That would be a good thing. Now they have the flying carpets over Agrabah, so similar to what you're going to see in Fantasyland, or excuse me, Front Adventureland. Thank you, in Magic Kingdom, and they have a Tower of Terror.
Ah, it was again fabulous. Tower of Terror is probably one of my favorite attractions. I mean, I love Tower of Terror in Disney World. I like Guardians at Disneyland. I just like that ride. And so that was the very first ride we rode on our full days at the parks. And we had a premier pass, which we will talk about later, which is so well worth it. We walked in and the lovely cast member was sitting there and said, "Do you speak English?" And we said yes. And she said, "Can I show your phone, the Premier Pass, to my colleague who's new so she sees how it works on the phone?" I said, "Sure." So we're talking and she's showing her everything. And finally I said, "Just so I know," I said, "I just make sure I realize I'm aware that we only can do one ride per attraction with the Premier Pass. Is that correct?" And she said, "Yes, it is. Would you like to ride again?" I'm like, "Yes." She said, "You've been so sweet." So she filled out another one so that we could come back anytime to write it a second time, which made my day. And my daughter's like, "You didn't give me a chance to say no." I said, "No, because you're doing it with me." It was different than Disney World. It is a different theme because the little girl, Sally, pretty much hosts it. She is the one that talks and hosts you through once you get on the elevator. She is there most of the time. It also different versions, kind of like Guardians has different versions at Disneyland, in California Adventure. This they have different versions. So the two we went on were two totally different versions of it. There are many more drops. They are before you ever expect it, and they drop before they even go up. So you're there and it drops you, and then you go back up again. It was by far my favorite Tower of Terror ride.
And the Tower of Terror is my wife's favorite. And actually, in Walt Disney World, that's where I proposed. It's outside of Tower of Terror.
Really, I love
So,
that.
um, our little girl, she's kind of iffy on it. But my wife loves about it is whenever you drop and you fly out of your seat,
Oh
and
yeah,
of course, at Walt Disney World they take the video and you can with the
yes.
photo pass and you can see yourself. Well, our little girl, you can see her start to fly out of her seat on a lot of these too, and looks on her face. She is at the end. She talks a big game of okay, let's do it again. But leading up to that, the fear sets in for her, and she's a little bit unsure about that. But oh, Tower of Terror, I'll take that.
Well, and the intro on that one, when you're in the same, they do the same intro. It's the same thing as far as the lobby when you're going in, the whole intro thing on the TV. That's in French, but they have the subtitles in English. what I find is funny is I know it so well that it didn't even dawn on me that it was in French because I know what they're saying. It's just like you've been on it for so many times. But no, it was, yeah, it had to been. And then we got to go again. It was even better.
Pixie dust. So nice.
Yes, yes. So I said, you be nice to people and then things that happen. It was great. She was so sweet.
That, and we mentioned on this podcast before, talk to the cast members.
Oh, yes.
Always. And repeat, when since you have different versions, repeat rideability. You can go on and again. It's something different. So
Hmm. Oh, it was,
good
yeah, it
job,
was,
Imagineers.
oh, totally. It was so good.
Now, some other things that will not make you have your stomach jump into your throat are Stitch Live. So there's a little stage show. There's Together, a Pixar musical adventure. They have the Animation Academy. This is similar to what they have out in
Right.
in Disneyland Resort at Disney California Adventure Park in Hollywoodland, where you get to draw actual characters and stuff. And I realized that I'm a better artist than I thought if I get the right coaching. I actually drew something that looked like Donald Duck and something that looked like Goofy. I was like, wow, I didn't know I had it in me. I think it was something with the pencils, though.
Almost magical pencils. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
it's got to
Yeah.
be. There's Alice in the Queen of Hearts Back to Wonderland, which is a stage show. Now this is behind Avengers Campus, so it's a long walk to reach. It's like this pathway like loops all the way around the back of the park.
It
So
that
be
that
prepared
area
for
back
that.
there is, yeah, there's no direct way, there's no cutoffs. It's a long walk. It is.
Now some other things are the ice cream creations, which has Magnum ice cream bars inspired by Disney and Pixar universes. So there's a Lion King one, a Frozen one, a Toy Story one, and they're very creative with the designs that they have on these, with like the color palette and everything. They're just looking at you can Google it. It looks pretty neat. Then there's the Hollywood Gardens restaurant, a quick service American food restaurant. It's a nice complement to the Plaza Gardens restaurant, although it has dim lighting inside, so it's kind of like the um with Dine In Theater, the
Oh,
in Hollywood
sci-fi.
sci-fi. Thank you.
Sci-fi.
It's so be prepared to be a little bit dim. Also, in Epcot at Mexico, inside the temple, um, the Mexican restaurant in there that's kind of
Oh,
dim as
yes, it's
well.
kind of dim. Yes, yes.
Now, Netherland is the Worlds of Pixar that has Crush's Coaster, which is a spinning coaster. So be prepared for that.
But it's not spinning like if you think of Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot, that's a spinning coaster. This one turns. I wouldn't call it spinning because my husband went on with us. He did Guardians once, won't do it again. This one he was fine with. So I consider this more family friendly. It's very, very cute and it's fun. That we like that one.
Although I like Guardians, I think that the spinning on Guardians is controlled and programmed so that I think, emphasizes and enhances the ride more than, I don't know, it doesn't make me queasy. So I don't know. I know it does that
Yeah,
for some people.
Guardians is, and like I said, I we love coasters. My daughter and I do. Guardians, I've done it several times now, and each time I come off going, I don't know. That one was not. You do on Crush's coaster, you do have depending on where you're sitting, you're riding backwards. That's an experience. That's kind of a different thing because
Oh, that's
you're going back and when it's going up, you're actually looking down what's going up, and the other sides you can see, and then
yeah,
it spins.
it's a
So
front to back thing. Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of different with that, but it was fun. It was really fun and very
We did
cute.
we did something like that this summer when we were in Jakarta. They had a ride a roller coaster that was like that. The seats were front to back, and then the
Hmm.
seats there though did just spin freely.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and you like went along. It was a very short coaster, and you went along this thing twice, and it was kind of rough. That my little girl loved it, and she kept wanting to go on, but she was not tall enough to ride it by herself. So that meant somebody else had to
You
ride it
had
with
somebody
her.
go in it. Yes.
And now my wife did it a few times, and but I rode that more times than I wanted to. It's like again, and the worst part is that there was no line that we could have just sat on that ride and just ridden it and just stayed
Ridden it
there.
over and over and over.
And mother's like, "Do it again, do it again." I was like, All right. We finally got to the point. I was like, all right, yes, I need a break.
Time for Dad to have a break over
Oh
here. Thank
man.
you.
Yeah. She could have stayed on that the entire time. All right, next one up is the Cars Quattro Rues Rally. Basically, it's a demolition derby type theme that's very similar to Alien Swirly Saucers and Mater's Junkyard Jamboree with the ride
Definitely close to
vehicle.
Maters. Yeah, definitely close to Maters.
Since it's more the Cars ride type thing, it's more
Yeah.
that thing, but it's the same type of ride, a track
Same
vehicle or
type.
movement
It
there.
the this I get we got a lot more spinning on that than we did when we ever do Toy Story one. There was a lot more of that one closer to Maters than there was. I never get spinny that much on Aliens. It just doesn't.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's me, but we really got going on the one in Disneyland Paris. It was fun.
Next up is Cars Road Trip, which is a studio tram tour themed to cars.
That is very much like the backlot tour, the old backlot tour at MGM. Very, very similar to that. MGM, sorry, Hollywood Studios. Very, very similar to that. What was fun about that was we realized they have a TV screen and they have characters narrating as you're going through the backlot tour. And they have two different car characters, and I forget who it was, but one is speaking in French and the other one is answering and speaking in English. So the conversation is in French and in English. And so by doing that, you still pretty much know what is being said, even though the entire thing is not in English or the entire thing is not in French. It was amazing. And what's amazing is how that tricks your brain into figuring out what is going on, even though the whole thing is not in your language.
That's pretty creative.
It was yeah, it was one of those things you dawns on you about midway through, like, oh, and it just yeah, it was pretty cool.
And you can call it MGM Studios because that's when the original tram was there. And I
Yes, it
think
was, and
that was the
it's as I say, it's still MGM to me. Always has been MGM. So yeah,
and that was the best version. We are going to have an episode of Gone but Not Forgotten Disney of things that used to be there and what replaced them.
awesome,
So
awesome.
the original backlot tour that was like an hour or 2 hours long, that
It
was
was
oh,
great,
oh so amazing.
so awesome. It was so awesome.
Now some other things are the toy soldiers parachute drop.
We wanted
There
to do that one, didn't get to it, but we did walk around it several times.
there's the Slinky Dog zigzag spin where Slinky Dog tries to catch his tail. It's kind of like a caterpillar style ride if you know the
Exactly.
old
It's yeah, it goes up and down and they're just around. Yeah.
old amusement park aficionados, you know what that is.
Hmm.
And actually, if you want to, anyone who likes roller coasters and stuff like that, there's a PBS show. It's called Great Old Amusement Parks. That
Oh,
it
fun.
was created. So in Pittsburgh, our local PBS station, WQED, there's a guy named Rick Seaback who starting back in the 80s, he started doing what's called the Pittsburgh History Series, which is these hour and a half long show documentary style things about the different things in Pittsburgh. But then he also did some national shows, and the Great Old Amusement Parks is one of them. He has one that's like the hot dog show, sandwiches that you'll love. So
Oh, fun.
and his voice is just so amazing that it's just so comforting in, hometown. It just really makes you feel at ease. So yeah, I could listen to him all day. Great
I'll have
voice.
to try to find it. I'll try to find that one.
I have a bunch of the DVDs, and actually, here's two of them. This one is what? Pittsburgh's Rivers and Bridges and The Return to Downtown Pittsburgh.
Oh,
So
wow.
there's another one over there. It's right beside the river because Pittsburgh has a bunch of rivers and South Side. It's like the South Side of Pittsburgh. So
Hmm.
document. So great stuff that he's done. If you want to learn more about Pittsburgh, just watch a bunch of those. You'll get a good history lesson. Now back to Disneyland Paris. There's RC Racer, which is like a thing goes back and forth like on a half pipe track and builds up speed, and you're like
We
riding
didn't
on
do that one.
RC. There's Ratatouille, the adventure, which is basically Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, just with a different name, at least with the setup of it. There's Bistro Chez Remy, which is a French table service restaurant. And then moving on to Marvel Avengers Campus.
This ride was again one of those ones that was like, wow, this was so amazing. It's a similar feel to Rock and Roller Coaster. It the cars look very much like the Guardians, but they don't spin. It was very fast, it was very smooth, and it was so much fun. That was one of the ones we got off, went, "Ooh, can we do it again? Can we do it again?" It was great.
There's Spider-Man Web Adventure, WEB. It's the one in Adventure Campus out in California Adventure in Disneyland.
Right, and it's actually the same, and so it was really fun, but again, they had the conversation going with one person speaking French and one person speaking English, and that whole introduction part of it. It was amazing how that works.
That's a pretty neat psychological thing too.
It is, it makes somehow you because of course I've been on it, so I know what's going on, but just even though you're hearing part of it in French and part of it in English, you can put the 2 together enough to know exactly what's going on. It's crazy.
They also have the Amazing Spider-Man, which is a stage show that has a truly amazing Spider-Man robot acrobat that does like these flips and flies through the air and stuff. That I've seen video of that. It's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, we saw the beginning of it, and then we had to get going.
more reason to go back.
I know.
There's also Avengers Unite, which is a stage show of like an action, something kind of similar to what they have in California Adventure Park too. They have like up on top that there's a little show they do with the different Marvel characters fighting the bad guys. There's Pim Kitchen, which is an American buffet. The Stark Factory, which is a quick service Italian place. The Super Diner, quick service American food, and the Web Food Truck, which is Asian food. And more reason to go back is there are coming lands to the area, which is the World of Frozen, Lion King, and Adventure Way. So maybe they're gonna find a new home for the Lion King show that you were raving about.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it just maybe so. I know that they had lots of walls up and lots of signs up that had the different things coming along. One thing we had when we were there, it was in the Disneyland Paris park. They had a pop-up. It was all about music. They had these musical pop-ups throughout the day. And one time they had Minnie leading a marching band out to on down Main Street. And then Goofy was directing an orchestra and directing the water fountains in front of the castle. And they would just at these places they would just pop up throughout the park. What was vastly interesting was that when these things occurred, there wasn't a mass of people pushing and shoving to get to the front to watch them. They stood where they were, they watched it. If there were kids there, they were up front watching it. Nobody was pushing and making them. It was kind of like, wow, look at this. And everybody had you could see what you needed to see. It was a tremendous amount of fun. And it was you didn't know when they're going to be there. All of a sudden they had just occurred. But it was just a nice atmosphere around it. There was just you got to see all this stuff. It was a lot of fun and continued on, but you didn't have all these people pushing, shoving, trying to get to the front, trying to get this and everything. And I also noticed it was in for the parades. The people were sitting on the curbs and they didn't stand up to block people in the back when the parade came. They continued sitting on the curb and people behind them stood. It was just a whole different thing,
Well behaved and organized. I like it.
right?
Maybe we can have like an entrance little video whenever you're waiting to get into Walt Disney World parks or Disneyland parks, and they can show here's what we do in Disneyland Paris. Maybe you
Paris,
should
that's
emulate
right.
that.
That's right. And even there, even one of the things that I said, there was we did do a lot of comparison. You can't help it. The one day we had we ate lunch on the way out of the Walt Disney Park to go over to Disneyland Paris, our big full day. And we stopped at the front part. And that's why I was looking at my map to see what it was. It was that part, the World Premier Plaza at the very entrance there. They have a huge food court type of thing. It was so organized. They had all these stations where you would go and place your order within this area. And then you take your slip over where they would pay, and then you stood and they would call your number and go. It moved quickly. It was so well organized. We're all going, wow, this is very well done. And they had, what was it? Oh, they had, okay, we had chicken stars. They had chicken nuggets, but they're shaped like stars
Oh, nice.
because we were in the world premiere. I don't know why, but it was great. It was fun, but it was just so well organized. It was crazy how smoothly everybody got their food and went, and there was no big long waiting, and tons of tables, and they gave you glasses of water that were actually glasses of water, not like little paper cups. They have reusable cups. They're very much into the environment and very little plastic, very little things that cannot be redone. So they actually give you cups to refill for your water.
Very nice. You're upscale and classy there.
I know. We're in
Now,
Paris after all.
yeah, we
We.
now a couple of the extras you can get. Maureen mentioned a few of these before. The Disney Premier Access Ultimate that you
Oh
get.
my gosh, so worth it.
Yeah, so it's Lightning Lane that you get to use once for all of the eligible attractions.
Yes, and we did it for both parks. Uh I believe it was I think it was $80 a person. That was US for us because when I purchased it, because you purchase it on your app ahead of time. So you do purchase it ahead of time before you get there for both parks, which was crazy. I mean, that's just it was so easy. There was no it's kind of like the old fast pass. No, actually it's not even that. You don't even have to make there's no times. You just walk in. So you don't have to go through and schedule your rides ahead of time. You just go in, show your premier pass, and you go through the line.
So it's kind of like what they do at Universal Orlando
Universal Express
with the
Pass.
Universal Express
Yes.
Pass.
Yes, exactly.
Now they also have reserved seating for the Disney Stars on Parade and the Nighttime Spectacular, and then guaranteed seating for all the shows.
And that's what we did for the Lion King one so that we could make sure we got in there.
They have the Disney Photo Pass Plus. They have My Royal Dream, which is basically the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and they have VIP tour guides.
Right. Like I said, on the photo pass, it's not, you don't see photographers everywhere like you do at Disneyland or at at Walt Disney World. It's just they're there, but you don't see them. They do have pictures on the rides that you can purchase separately too, but you just don't see photographers everywhere.
And now moving on to Disney Village, or as Maureen so eloquently called it. And you have a great
The
way with
village of
these names
downtown
too.
Disney Springs.
Exactly. So this is very small. It's only about 4.37 acres is what I saw. So that's like 3 football fields big.
Yeah, it's
Downtown
not very
Disney
big.
District is like 20 acres. Disney Springs is 120 acres. So very compact area. It was originally called Festival Disney. There's 8 stores with World of Disney, the Disney Store, Disney Fashion Junior, Disney Gallery, World of Toys, Lego Store, and the Rainforest Cafe Retail Village. So, again, not too much, but it's all Disney themed. So you definitely have a
Very
place you
much
can buy
so.
your souvenirs. There are 15 restaurants and bars. So there's some kiosks. There's 6 quick service restaurants, 7 table service restaurants, a couple bars, cafes, and things like
Yeah,
Ben and
we ate at the Royal Pub is a place where we ate for dinner, and it was great. And we walked in without a reservation.
yeah, some other places are Ben and Jerry's, Earl Sandwich, Five Guys, McDonald's. So my daughter will be happy. Rainforest Cafe, Starbucks. And then there's a decent amount of attraction and entertainment there too. That there's Disney Stadium arcade games, the Disney Village Marina, so you can, you know, run some watercraft, so nice little water area. Disney Village Stage, Dome Disney Village, which is like a conference center. Sometimes they'll have productions there, concerts, sometimes sports. There's the Gaumont Disney Village, which is a movie theater that has some IMAX and 4D theaters too. There's what was that Panora Magique, and that's the balloon that Maureen mentioned before. It's basically like the Aerofire balloon that's at Disney Springs in Walt Disney World.
But if I remember right, I was on that one at Disney World, and it kind of goes up and comes back down again. This one, the one at Disneyland Paris, goes up and it goes out over the water. Because I was watching it, I was staying at the back of the hotel the one day, and I was like, "Oh, that's going out too." and then it would come back in. Like, okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Usually, I know in the one in Disney Springs, they do not let it go up if the weather's too bad, like the wind would blow it too much. I don't know if this is just natural wind currents or if they actually have a
I
way
don't know. I don't know, but I know that, I mean,
to steer it
it
a
was
bit.
out over the water, and then they would come back in and go down. Like, it's kind of cool.
And my little girl loves that, and she has when the first time we went there, she was begging us, "Oh, can we do that? Can we do that?" And kind of like me with my first couple times trying to get on it, with either the wind was too bad or there were thunderstorms in the area and we just could not get
Right.
on it. And so we finally got to go on and we she went up and again, extremely brave, talks a good game in the beginning, and then whenever you actually get to it, she was a little bit unsure of being up that high. But
Yeah, I
she did
couldn't
it
get
though.
either. I can't get either one of my two people to go with me if they won't do up there. Even though Casey loves coasters, she will not go up on that. I would, but
Yeah, some people are afraid of heights. Not me. I'm terrified of them, but I conquer my fears. Now they also have Golf, I guess Golf Paris Val d'Europe. So it's formerly Golf Disneyland. And this is east of Disneyland Paris Resort. It's outside of the circle. So this is interesting. It's a triple modular 9-hole course. All right. So what does that
Mm.
mean? There are three 9-hole courses that can be combined in different ways to get different 18 hole rounds. And they're themed to 100 Acre Woods, Wonderland, and Neverland. So
Huh.
that's pretty interesting. Has a driving range, a golf area, like a putt area, shaped like Mickey Mouse for kids. There's a clubhouse. It has Goofy's Pro Shop and the Clubhouse Grill. So they have some extra stuff there. It's again stuff that's kind of familiar if you've been to other Disney parks in the U.S., but yet slightly different.
Something different, yeah. One of the things that's a little different too, as far as their packages. Disney, when it did both Disneyland, Walt Disney World, you can choose to stay and you choose your number of days of tickets, and then you can pretty much make it how you want it. Disneyland Paris is different because if you want to stay a certain number of days, it automatically puts in a certain number of ticket days. So for instance, we did 2 nights. They gave you 3 days of tickets. You cannot change that. That is what the package is. 2 nights, 3 days of tickets. And you can, like we did park hopper, so you can go back and forth. But so we used the day we got there to get the lay of the land. The second day we were there, and the third day we are heading over to the ship for our river cruise. So we didn't go back in again, but you can't do just 2 days. So it's an interesting, their package is just very different. And I will say that having to get to Paris is the expense, but their packages are extremely reasonable.
Always nice,
Hmm.
especially if you're combining your Paris trip with to Disneyland Paris with other things. Which
Right?
Maureen's going to be back to talk about a few other things that she did on her trip to Paris and the that whole region. So, Maureen, do you have your travel tip that you'd like to add?
So many. I think, and I actually asked my family for help on this one this time too, because I've had different ones. They said, pack lightly. We did a 10-day trip and we all did carry on. Amazing. We were so proud of ourselves. But we said pack lightly and save room to pack patience because expect the unexpected and be flexible because something's going to happen. I will tell about that one on a different adventure. But pack lightly, save room for pack patience because you always need it. And remember, you're on vacation. No matter what happens, you're on vacation.
And it's kind of like I think it was in like the Odyssey. So Greek, your Greek myth stuff that they said that the best day of being alive is better than your or the worst day being alive is better than your best day being in the underworld. And so
Truth, yes.
your worst day on vacation is better than your best day at work, I think. So similar thing. And yeah, we can compare some travel I don't want to call it travel nightmares, but travel
Challenges?
peculiarities.
There you
Travel
go.
challenge. That's a good one. I
There you
like
go.
that. So for mine, neck pillows, especially if you're they're great for long trips and um, they take up space though whenever you're traveling, and you have to carry it around, and then it's just an extra thing there. Look for an inflatable one that it's easy to store both at home and when you reach your destination. My wife has one; she loves it. Uh, this one's pretty neat that it can actually clasp in front of you, so that it's not just the around the back of your neck. So whenever you're falling asleep, you lean forward a little bit, you're not just falling over. It can actually have something to help hold you up. So it's really nice. Plus, you can make it fill it up more, fill it up less, to fit you and what you need it for. We also got an inflatable booster seat for our daughter. So now we don't have to lug around that full booster seat in the car. We save money that we don't have to rent one from the rental car. We don't have to worry about getting one from a Lyft or an Uber or whatever, ride share we're doing, or a taxi, whatever. So having that inflatable one that you can just carry around, inflate it when you need it, blow the air out, store it easily in a bag. Great space savers for things that you're going to use while you're away, and great money savers as well.
Good ideas.
So, if you have a destination or an experience that you'd like to have us discuss on the Where Yinz Goin podcast, or if you'd like to share your favorite destination or have a travel tip, feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear your feedback and ideas. Maureen, how can people get a hold of you?
Maureen at dreamsbydesigntravel.com, or on Facebook, it's Dreams by Design Travel with Maureen.
Here at the podcast, we are on Facebook and X with at Where Yinz Goin. Yinz, Yinz, Goin, Goin with the apostrophe. All this information is going to be in the episode description. So if you'd like to contact us to book a trip or have any questions, you know how to find us. You don't have to have written that down or have to memorize it now. Please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend. If you like what you heard, let other people enjoy it as well. Maureen, thank you so much. I now need to make a trip to Disneyland Paris. So my bank
Absolutely.
account does not like you, but I like you, so it's okay.
Thanks for letting me share. It was truly an amazing trip, and we absolutely love Disneyland Paris.
And you get to relive the trip, which is a nice thing about talking about it at the end. Yeah. And my little girl's about to go ride bikes now too with her mom.
Oh,
So she's happy. I'll be out in a little bit. So, but Morgan will be back to talk about her other adventures in Paris and France, and then another one to talk about just international travel in general. So, tips and tricks that we've picked up while traveling internationally that hopefully we'll share with you, and hopefully you can take that and enhance your journey. So, please join us next time. We're heading out in that. We'll see you later.
bye.